You might have wanted to have it. I don't know. I took the one that was here before, so you got the nice hot one that you just brought over.
It's the same thing. I put them out at the same time.
Oh, what's that? What happened?
The Bamboo Project wholesaling episode starts in 3,
Okay. No,
2.
All right. Welcome to the Bamboo Project YouTube channel. This is episode 4 of our wholesaling series of how we go from possibly getting evicted to becoming rich, right?
Not possibly. If we continue on this trajectory that we're going on now, we will definitely be evicted. Eviction is it's already
in the process.
we already got that.
Right.
It's more
they
so
sent us a letter to get evicted. So we decided that we needed to do wholesaling to be able to pay off the money that we owe for our eviction and our lease and also cover our debts. So one of the things of this channel is turn your life into a living. So we decided to document and record all the things that we're going to do to get out of this hole that we are in. So this is episode 4 in a series of how we started off learning wholesaling until we get our first deal, and then until we turn it into an actual business where we can make money, until we can make money, enough money that we don't have to worry about money. That's the goal. My goal is to not have to worry about making money. And we're going to give you updates every week about what we learned so far, what we went through with wholesaling, in case somebody else is a beginner, because as you know, we are also beginners in wholesaling, and this is a new journey for us. So what did you learn this week in wholesaling?
Well, honestly, I didn't do much with wholesaling this week because of my female stuff. I felt very drained, and one thing that I realized is that even though it may not seem like a lot of work that you have to do, it definitely is, and you need the energy to do it, and you need to take time out to do it, because you have to look for I have to try and find a lead or try and find a deal, have to crunch numbers, have to try to understand the neighborhoods that we're looking at and stuff like that. So there's a lot that goes into wholesaling. Anything new really that I learned this week? I'm gonna let Donivan go first, because I feel like his week has been more eventful, and if there's anything that comes to mind, I'll go ahead and share that afterwards.
Okay, so one thing I also forgot to mention in the beginning of this video is what wholesaling is. If you're new and you don't know what that is, wholesaling is when you get a contract to buy a house. What that means is you start the process of buying a house, and before the house is actually sold to you, which means the money is transferred to you, you transfer that contract to somebody else who actually has the money. So I go to the person who owns the house and I say, hey, I want to buy your house. They go, okay, sign this contract. I go, okay, fine. I take that contract that they gave me and I assign it to somebody else or transfer it to somebody else who has the money. I charge them a fee for transferring that property, and then they actually buy the property with their own money. That's how wholesaling works.
And it's the last time we're going to tell y'all. If you don't know, going forward in the future episodes, you're going to have to watch the other episodes.
That's not true. I'm going to tell you that's every episode.
Why are you going to tell them every episode?
Because somebody may come to this and not know what wholesaling is.
That's why they have to go to the first one. That's the whole point of having a playlist.
No, it's not. If somebody comes across this channel and they're watching wholesaling, they don't know what it is. They might not watch the video. They don't know what wholesaling is at all.
Then they're looking it up to get more information about it.
No, they just came across it.
What?
You just come across a video. So you're like, okay, what are they doing? They're wholesaling? What the heck is that? So we'll be talking about it for 30 minutes and they don't know what it is.
Then and that's why you say if you don't know what this is, you shouldn't even be watching this video. You don't know what I'm talking about. You should go back to week 1.
But why would they not want to watch the video?
Because they'd watch that video later on in the section of the videos.
But if I'm new, first time I'm watching this video, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Now you want me to go back and watch wholesaling?
Is that not what we did?
But she says in every video, people say what it is. Yes, it is. When they talk about wholesaling, they say this is what it is. I have a contract. This is wholesaling, how it works. I said, I'm thinking about my friends who will watch it and don't know what wholesaling is. They know I'm doing it. They don't know what it is. So now they have to go back and find a specific video where we tell what wholesaling is.
It's in a playlist, so it's not like it's that hard. But I understand what you're saying.
Right. So that's how I'm looking at it. So yeah, as Melissa said earlier, as far as my last week goes. Oh, talk to the mic. I didn't do a lot of wholesaling or a lot of looking for leads which is what they call properties, because I I had got tied up into a contract, as you saw in the last 2 episodes, and I was trying to get out of it. So I did some improper comps, and I had this whole issue. So, excuse me. Let me see. I improperly comped a lead. So I had the contract for it, but I had got it too high. So nobody wanted to actually purchase it. One of the issues was the street location. So over the last week, I was trying to find buyers for this property. I was calling agents of people that bought houses all cash in the area. And I was trying to see, okay, maybe they know an investor that wants to buy this property. I was looking on Google for people who are cash buyers in the area. I was just trying to find somebody who would want to buy the property. I was hitting up people that I know that also know people that buy real estate. And everybody that looked at it was like, nah, this is not going to work. One of the reasons that I got was it's too small. That's one reason I got. And 2 other people had told me that the area is not that good. Now, I was confused by that because once you pretty much go around the corner, let's say 2 blocks over, everything just changes completely. It just completely changes to where a house that sold for $100,000 now sells for $170,000. And because I'm not from there, I don't know how to kind of look at the area and know which area does that. So when I was on the phone with the guy, one of the agents, who was probably the most helpful agent I've ever had, I'm going to put that video up because we're going to also put up our live calls that we have throughout the week on, for like a series you can watch in case you want to learn how to do things or how we do it or what we're doing wrong or right. So he was giving me so much information, and he was telling me that there's a street called Orleans Street. Now, this is the first time I heard it. The second time I heard about it, I asked a guy, like, what is Orleans Street? Everybody kept saying, like, okay, this is near Orleans Street. Orleans Street is an area in Baltimore that people want to stay away from. I guess it's a bad street or a bad area. So the further south you go of that street, the more the increase in property or the higher the prices for the property. So I didn't know that. So I thought, okay, if that house, a block over there sold for 170, mine could do 170. That's not the case because they were saying I'm kind of north of Orleans Street as opposed to south of Orleans Street. And that made a big difference in the property. So like I said, I was trying to figure that out all last week. So all last week I was just talking to people. I even talked to a couple of people who I found on Google who are cash buyers. And the price that I got the property for was $80,000. But when I ran my comps, the good buy price would have been $90,000, and they were listing it for $86,000. So I thought, if I got it for $80,000, that's perfect. It's $10,000 under the listing price. I mean, $6,000 under the listing price and $10,000 under my buy price. So I thought everything was great. So the more I started doing research into it and talking to more people who are wholesalers or who are investors or things like that, they all started showing me why it's not worth that and what it's actually worth. So the actual worth of that property, the actual price that the property should have been purchased at was about $55,000. And the ARV would have been $113,000. So I thought it was going to go for like $165,000. It goes for $113,000. So all last week I was in this contract. I didn't know how to get out of the contract because I'm like, okay, I didn't actually have an inspection or have anybody go to check the property. So I didn't know how inspections work with contracts. I know that you can have that in there, but the contract that I had said you have to give a specific reason as to why you are not going to go through with the contract. So then it also saw on there that you can have like a financing termination where you don't secure the financing, but on the contract it said cash. So I'm like, damn, maybe because it's cash, I can't use it as a reason to not go through with the contract or to terminate the contract. So I'm like, okay, I'm not really sure how to get out of this. So I'm thinking I was going to just take a loss, either because I put up $1,000 deposit money. Actually, they wanted me to take a picture of my check and send that to them. And then I guess they were going to deposit that. That's what I thought originally. But they also asked me to mail the check to them. I never mailed the check because I was procrastinating on mailing the check. That actually worked out in my favor because I never actually lost $1,000 from my account. But at first I didn't know that. So I spent the whole week trying to figure out how can I go about keeping my $1,000. So I was like, you know what? If I pay for an inspection, when they come back and give me the inspection, then I can use whatever they tell me as a reason to back out of the deal. But I would just take that $300 loss of using the inspection as opposed to the whole $1,000. And so me and Melissa were trying to figure out, okay, what's the best option to take? And I wanted to I wanted to try and close the deal the best I can. I figured maybe I can get somebody to at least, buy it, but I only make 3,000 instead of 10. That's still fine. I still make some money on it. And I actually got the price down from 80 to 65. And like I said, I bought it. It was listed at 86. I bought it at 80, or I got the contract for 80. And through negotiation throughout that week, when I was telling the person, that the agent, I don't have the financing for that contract because I said my partner's is not gonna be able to pay this because it's too high, based on the comp that you guys provided to me. So they actually came down to 65. And I had somebody who had emailed me and said they would do something close to 64. So I'm thinking, okay, if I can get that person up to 65, then I should be fine. But they end up checking the comps again, and they were like, it's not worth that either. I'll do 55 for it. So now everybody's telling me 50, 55, and the seller is telling me 65. So there's no way I can close that gap to be able to get any money on it. So I can't sell it to anybody, and even if I did sell it, I won't make any money on it. But I'm like, I need to get out of the deal. So I didn't know, because like I said, this is my first contract. I didn't know really how to go about it, but it was a lot easier than I thought. I told the person, listen, I told her they came down from 80 to 68, I think. And I'm like, 68 is not going to work. I countered and I said 50. And they were like, well, we can't do 50. I'm like, all right, what? They said 65. I'm like, okay. I didn't respond. I just kind of talked to my buyers and see what they would do. But all the buyers were like 65, 50, whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to tell them I'll come up to 60 is what I told them. But then I came back and said, nah, 60 is not going to work. I actually went down in my negotiation price instead of going up. So I went from 50 to 60. Then I went back down to 57. And they were like, well, we can't do 57 because the lowest we can do is 65. So after all of that, they were just like, okay, well, this is not going to work. So she sent me a release of contract, and she sent me a earnest money release. She sent me a termination of contract and a release of earnest money deposit, which is what the money that you would put up. So everything went perfectly fine. I didn't lose any money. Nothing happened. I probably can't use that relationship as far as getting more leads. In the email that she sent me, she did say she would be looking to working forward to me, but that might be just a formality. So I don't know how that's going to go going forward. But it's all in all, I learned a lot about comping properties. I learned a lot about kind of negotiations. I learned that you can go down in price. I learned that for whatever reason, the two numbers that I've been keen on is that listing prices, if they're higher range properties, they usually tend to be at about $100,000 above what I need it to be at for me to purchase it. And then lower end properties are usually listed at about $20K over what the person actually wants for the house. And it's kind of weird because whenever I do the numbers, I'm like, this house is worth $20K less every single time I do. If the house is like under $250, $260, then the listing price is usually about $20K over what it should be at. And I'm pretty sure they do that so they can get more money on the commission, and they have more room to negotiate. But I think it scares people because you look at a price for a house and it says, oh, the house is $220,000, but your numbers say that you have to buy the house at $185. You're like, how is that possible? How can I buy it at $185 if it's at $220? But the actual price that they want, or that they are starting off as $200. So you can negotiate for $200 down to maybe $160, $170, something like that. But that $220 number is a fake number. But it's going to get a lot of people to kind of either one, back off, I think, and two, it'll get somebody who's not paying attention like me in the beginning to buy the property, even though it's overvalued or overpriced. So like I said, that was a learning lesson I got. So now, at first, when I got back into doing the wholesaling thing, after the whole week kind of off, because I wasn't really looking for leads or calling people, the beginning was a struggle to get back in. I'm like, damn, do I really want to do this? It just felt so much harder to do it after getting back into it. But those 2 days allowed me to now feel like, okay, now I got it. 'Cause I was kind of lost, like, okay, where do I go now? How do I fix what I did wrong before, and how do I make it better going forward? So like I said, one of the most important things I learned was how to comp a property. I think that's the most important thing, because then once you comp the property and you have the ARV for it, then you could go, oh, I know what people will buy for this. And then because here's the thing, if I get a contract going forward, that means the contract should be at a price that is good for everybody that wants to purchase it, as opposed to before. So now I know as soon as I get a contract, it should be guaranteed money, as opposed to before. I'm like, I don't really know what's going to happen. Maybe I do. get a deal, maybe I don't get a deal, I don't know. So like I said, now with that, it helps me to understand, okay, this is a deal, that's not a deal, things like that. Another thing I learned this week too is that one of the reasons you want to call leads, a lot of people I know are kind of like intimidated by calling agents and things like that, is to build a relationship. So if you're calling them and you already know that the prices that you need is way under what they needed to, what they want or listed it for, think of it more so as like, okay, well, I'm thinking of it more so as building a relationship. Like, okay, maybe they won't sell me this for, 40 or 50K underneath the listing price, but they may go, okay, well, this is not going to work for you, but I do have a distressed property in the area or that came up. I can give that one to you. And then that works. And then going forward, you still have a person that will send you leads that you can purchase in the future. So when you call them, don't think of it as, I got to get this person down 100K to buy the house. Think of it as, if they don't want to come down 100K, then maybe they do have a deal that I can purchase in the future. And then you build that relationship going forward. Because it's great to have a bunch of agents that are sending you leads, because it's a lot easier that way than it is to look for them yourself. I talked about last week, I had a guy who I thought I was killing him. I had 3 contracts sent to me. And as a newbie, I didn't really know what that meant. I thought if I got sent the contract, it was a done deal. I'm good to go. Everything is fine. Out of the 3 contracts that I got sent to me, one of them was signed by me and the seller. The other 2 were actually signed by just me. But the agent never said anything to me after that. So I haven't heard from the agent in about a week or so. So I'm assuming those contracts are done and dead. But like I said, I thought once I signed and they sent it to me, everything would be good. So something must have happened between now and then. Like either I must have said wrong or something happened with the agent that they weren't able to send that offer in. I don't know. But all I know is that for me, I haven't heard back from the agent since then. And one thing I do like about wholesaling is similar to when I used to talk to or run Game on Girls. It's a numbers game. So if you're calling 40, that's a lot. If you're calling like 5 people every day or 10 people every day, at the end of the week, that's 70 people. You don't remember the 17th person or the 18th person you called that either yelled at you and screamed at you. You don't remember the 23rd person that didn't return your contract. You don't remember any of that because now you're 3 weeks in, you're already at 210 people. You forgot all of those things that happen. So the more you do it, the more you realize that it's not, you don't get as hurt or you don't feel as bad when something doesn't go right. Because you're like, okay, 3 weeks ago I felt bad, but I called 100 more people after that. So it's whatever. So that happened last week. I'm trying to also, let me see what I have on here. Is it thing what's
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I didn't know you wanted to talk still. I didn't know that you wanted to talk. You said to just go. So I was like,
bruh.
Melissa, you don't have a podcast for 3 hours.
Bruh, Donovan.
Listen, I do this. This is what I do. I don't know if you know that.
Oh my gosh. I'm looking at the time like, damn, it's been 12 minutes? Okay.
I do this on a regular basis. I could have kept going, but I decided to stop.
Bruh, I thought he was going to like go into his past week and then that would be kind of like, okay. Like that would be the bullet point. It'd be like, so anything, Melissa? No. Okay, now I know. I'm a buzz. I'm gonna have a buzzer here or something like.
Listen, I saw you write something. I'm just like I was writing because you were saying like, you said yeah, okay, you go first. I'm like, all right, so I'm just gonna go through my whole thing, and then I think you had nothing to say. You said I really have nothing to say. I'm like, all right.
I was writing stuff down that I thought of while you were speaking.
Okay.
So to bounce off of what he just said about it being a numbers game. The goal that we have right now is to call about 15 leads a day.
Each. That's 30.
Yes, each.
That's the goal.
So that's something that I'm kind of looking forward to. What else is that? Oh, so one thing that I learned this week that I thought was interesting too was the big hoopla about the proof of funds and the earnest deposit. That really shows the seller how serious the buyer is. So if you put down $1,000 of earnest money, the seller is going to take you less seriously than someone that's putting down $10,000 worth of earnest money. Now, it's not necessarily a good or bad thing. It just reflects on how badly you want the deal, basically. And it's the same thing with a hard proof of funds, where it's like the seller, for some reason, they don't want to take the property. Well, not for some reason. They want to sell their house, but they don't want to take the property off market for anyone or to be haggled or for no reason. So it's kind of like a lot of hoops that you have to go through just to kind of prove like, hey, I really do want to buy this property. And then when you start adding contingencies, like we have a contingency, which is a 10-day inspection, and the closing date being 30 days, even though it's cash, it's like I can see why the sellers would be a bit apprehensive with the deals that we're trying to make. But I think that for me personally, when I start working on having those conversations more, I think that I could get through. I tried calling 2 people yesterday and nobody picked up the phone. That's another thing that I noticed too. It's kind of hard to get in touch with real estate agents sometimes. And it's kind of like, do you or do you not want to sell this house? I don't understand, but everybody got lives or whatever. So another thing too is looking at higher end properties. That's one thing that I'm definitely going to be focusing on going forward, because I just know in my soul that if you're trying to get top dollar for a property and you're selling that property for $10,000, that property is probably not worth anything, like at all. Like you probably have to tear it down. Like if it's listed with a real estate agent for $10,000, I'm not even going to look at that. And I think the minimum price for a property that I should be looking at in order for me to get like a good ARV that's over $260K would probably have to be like a messed up house that's messed up and still worth $100K. So that's one thing that I've been looking. That's kind of a strategy that I'm gonna take a look at this week, because if the market is hot, that's another thing too. It's kind of hard to find a house that's messed up and valued at that price in a higher end market, because they typically tend to take care of their homes. So it's gonna be interesting. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. And then the last thing that I wrote down is following up, because I think that that's something that we haven't really been doing, and something that I should do going forward, because just because we haven't heard from them doesn't mean that the deal is off the table or anything like that. Like, example, I had a deal that was supposed to go under contract with this person named Charles, and it was like probably like a week later, and I got a phone call, and I'm like, hello, who is this? And he's like, hi, this is Charles. We spoke about this property. I'm like, oh, wow. You still want to do this? So I think that if I was more proactive following up with these leads, or even following up with the people that have said no to me, because if I'm trying to get this deal and I tell you the price that I want to get it at, and you decline, you say, oh, okay, my seller is not going to take this offer, and a week from that day that you decline my offer, it's still on the market, I could pretty much message you again like, hey, I see that this property is still available. You see you're not getting that price that you thought you was going to get. So can we renegotiate the price that I want? And I think that could be a good tactic to use, I feel like, going forward.
Yeah, I agree with what she said about following up. So, like I said, I've been on a rampage after that first contract, because now I want everything to be tighter. I want everything to be a lot more lean when it comes to finding deals and kind of building a system around it. So when I use a Google Sheets. So now what I've been doing is I have a color coded system that says, okay, what was my response when I call this person? So for me, I have like a light blue, and that means that maybe I spoke to them, or it's a cold lead, but it's not closed. So we had a conversation. I still want to talk to them. The house is not sold yet. So I'm just going to keep going back to the blue. Every week I'll check, okay, which houses were blue. Then I'll go and call them again. And I put in my notes, I called them the second week. This is what they said. And I'm going to just keep following up until the property is closed. Until the property is actually sold, I'm going to keep following up. And when it gets sold, I turn it black. So I'm like, all right, exit out. The house is sold. It's off the market. So you something you want to say?
Donivan's Google sheet, he calls it the Dealinator.
I need a better name, because I feel like somebody else has that, but I'm gonna call it we'll come up with something later.
Okay, but as of right now, we know it as Dealinator.
Yeah, the Dealinator.
And I told myself that I was gonna try to use it yesterday, but I was still trying to get back in the groove of things, so I just started using the old method that I normally use. But I'm feeling a bit more adventurous today, and a bit more open to learning. Like, it's not learning a new thing really. It's just kind of getting used to a new interface. So I feel like today is the day that I'm probably gonna really like dive into that, because I do like that there's like a note section. It's really fire. It's really fire. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Another thing too that I realized, like Melissa said, and this is different for everybody that's doing it. But I came across a house that was $14,000, right? Now, one thing because if you're using Zillow or any of the other platforms like that, like we use, you may look at a house and go, oh, it's a cheap house. That means it's a good deal. And that's usually never the case. You can't look at a house by its price and determine whether it's a deal or not if you don't live in that area. And even then, yeah, you still can't really tell, because you may be scrolling and you'll see a bunch of houses that are selling for $60,000 or sold for $60,000, and you see a house that's selling for $5,000. You're like, oh, this must be a deal. Little did you know, this house is only 10 square feet, and you're like, wait a minute, that explains why it's selling for so low. Or the house is completely destroyed, nothing's in there. There's foundation issues. They got rats and roaches. It's all types of stuff going on. But I think when I look for a house now, I'll go, okay, I look at an area and I go, all of these houses are selling for, I like to go by price per square foot. All these houses are going for $100 per square foot. Okay, well, this house is being sold for $70 per square foot. Let me see why what's going on with that one. And I'll go and research a little bit and go, okay, it's selling for $70 a square foot because it's smaller, or it's because it's big. Actually, that would be, if it's bigger, it'll sell for less square footage. So maybe it's bigger than all the other properties. Maybe the person is trying to get rid of it. But then you look at it from that standpoint, and it helps you to kind of understand, oh, that's why it's selling for that. One thing too, like I said, also like what Melissa was saying before, is there's more meat on the bone when you are looking for properties that cost more. There's more room for me to actually make money. So the house I talked about earlier, was selling for $65,000. Right, that's the price that they wanted it for, but it only resells for $113,000. If you account for rehab, let's say rehab is $25,000. Already I'm at $90K, right? 25 plus 60. Yeah, I'm at $90K already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's close to 85.
No, if you have 65 and you sell it for 25, it's 90.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you said 60.
Yeah, so now I'm at 90,000, right? That's just rehab alone. Okay, now I'm selling it. I'm assigning the contract to somebody else, so they have to make money on it too. So let's say that their profit margin, let's say they want to make $20,000, which is a very low amount, but they want to make $20K. Now it's $110,000 that we had, that the price of the house that we already put into the house. We put $110,000 into this house. Okay, now I want a wholesale fee. Normally I wanted to make 10K. I haven't done a deal yet, but I want to make 10K, right? I can't do that because now the after repair value of this house is $113,000. We already at $110,000. So if I add my wholesale fee of $10,000, we're at $120,000. So I have to at least have my wholesale fee under that at $3,000, right? So let's say I got $3,000 wholesale fee. I made my $3,000. They made $20,000 off the deal, right? There's still closing costs and there's still carrying costs. So it's still, and well, that goes to the fee of the agent that has the deal. So they want 6%. No, they want 6%, and then there's 9% of carrying costs. So we have 50%. So 50% of what? Of 70. 50, and it's of the selling. It's of the sold price too. It's another $10,000, right? So again, that's another $10,000. We're already at $123,000, and
it's 15% of the ARV, not the back price.
Why? How? I don't think so.
With the closing?
Yeah, because if I'm buying it from you,
I'm gonna have to pay rentals.
Because I'm thinking of it like if the person buys the house from me, if I bought that Rose property, right? Who's paying that closing costs?
You are.
Right, but it's not rehab yet. I have to pay.
But okay, I think.
Or the seller pays that.
No, it's not the seller. The seller pays the commission.
Right. So yeah, I pay commission when I finally do sell it.
You don't pay commission.
No, when I finally sell it. After I rehab it.
What commission?
No. If I'm buying the property, I pay commissions once I sell it.
Commissions to who?
The agent.
No.
Okay. If I am wholesaling it to Jerry. Jerry has to pay commissions when he sells the property.
When he sells the property to who?
When he flips it.
Oh, when he flips it?
Yes. When he finally sells the property, he has to pay commissions as a seller.
Nah.
So who pays commissions?
Commissions. Okay. If he's finding a cash buyer and he's going directly to the buyer, he doesn't have to pay commissions because there's no real estate agent involved.
If he's doing what? If he's selling it?
If he's selling it directly to the buyer, if I'm saying, hey, I'm giving you a house, there's no real estate agent involved in our interaction. So there's no commission being paid to anyone out of that.
Who he's selling the house to? A cash buyer? Why would he do that?
Exactly. Because that's who he's flipping the house to.
No, he's not doing
to the
that.
homeowner.
Right.
Oh, okay. I mean, it depends. It depends on how.
Right, but it's less likely they're going to be a cash buyer for a rehab property. It's probably going to be somebody that wants to live there.
I'm thinking about wholesaling.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But I'm talking about the price as far as the total price. There's still 6% price that they have to pay at some point in this deal.
Yeah, but I think they subtract that price not from the buyer. They put that towards the profit that they're gonna make after the house is sold. So that's why the 15% comes out of the ARV.
Right. So okay. So that means that my $10,000 was too low because the 6% of whatever the ARV price is when they sell the property. So yeah, because whenever you sell it, you have to pay commissions. So it's gonna be higher than $10,000. Either way, all in, I'm gonna be spending $130,000 or so for a house that's only worth $113,000. So it's like once you add in all those fees and things like that, it's like there's no way that a house selling for that low can make enough profit for you. But if you start going to a house that costs $300,000 and $400,000, now there's more meat for you to be able for everybody to eat. I could get some, you could get some, he could get some. Everybody can still get fed, and everything is fine. So like I said, now I want to look for property that are like that. Another thing too that I started doing last night, which I think I'm going to do over the next week, is when I go on Zillow, I'm only putting in 1 day, like on Zillow for 1 day, as far as looking for sales. Because before I was looking for anything, I'm just scrolling through all the states. Like, okay, I see a place that's selling a lot of. I used to look for places that would have a lot of recently sold properties, and I would try and find something in that area that I can buy and then rehab it. Not rehab, but assign to somebody else and let them rehab it. But that's too broad. So I need to, like I said earlier, to make it leaner, I need to get more specific what I want. So now I want property that have been listed on Zillow in the last day for multiple reasons. The main reason is that it's easy for me to get it and make the purchase and get an offer submitted if I'm first on the scene too. If I'm coming in all cash and I'm coming closing within the next 30 days, I'm like, I want to get this deal done. Do you disagree?
Yeah, I do disagree.
Why?
It's funny because I'm kind of trying to take the opposite approach because all the properties that I've been finding have been posted within like a day, within a couple of hours and stuff like that. So the problem that I'm noticing that I'm having is that people, especially when you're trying to give a price that's under what they're listing for, people want to. I've been told by the agents that the seller wants to keep the house on the market for a longer period of time because they want to see how much it could actually make. So they may be a bit apprehensive about selling it so soon at a lower price than they listed because they feel like they might be cheating themselves. Now, the only thing about that I'm thinking could be the issue that I'm facing is that I should still push for them to submit the offer to the client, even though they're saying that to me, because they're speaking on the behalf of the client when they're telling me no. But I need you to bring that deal to the client and let the client tell me no. Let the owner of the house tell me no, not what you want. So it could work in that sense if you like bring it if it's brought straight to the owner. But I'm trying a different route. I'm trying to see how things will work if the house has been on for like maybe 30 days or 30 days or less.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I want to do it for me is I think that one of my strongest suits is being on the phone with people. So I feel like I can make them comfortable enough to like me to go, okay, I do fuck with you, I'm gonna see what I can do for you and get you the deal done. And then also, like Melissa said, which I'm trying to understand more of how this works. If I submit a deal, are you obligated to tell your client, because they may take the deal even though you don't like it, but it's not up to you to like it. It's up to them. So if you have the house listed for 200,000, but the client is okay with 150, and I offer 170, and you like, well, I don't think they're gonna want that. Well, I'm like, it's not up for you to want. You're not selling the house. You don't own the house. If they want 150 for it, and you thought it was gonna be worth 200, and they say we'll take 150 or 170, then I'm gonna get 170. And if I was first on the scene, that's what's gonna happen. On top of the fact that, like I said, if I can get in there and smooth talk them and sweet talk them and say, listen, this is gonna happen if you wait. I'm coming in all cash. We can get this closed really quickly. You do agency, you can get double the commission. I'm saying all these things, and I'm also pointing out, look, the house needs this, the house needs that, the house needs this. You got listed at 200. We both already know that's not worth that. Then it's like, okay, now submit the offer, and then they might tell the client, or they might tell the seller, yeah, look, it ain't really. I put it up for 200. I thought I could get 200. I got 170. Y'all wanted 150. You made 20K on it. Everybody's everybody's happy. But a lot of times, like I said, their job is to get the seller the most money. That's their job. So they're gonna be more inclined to go, let's wait it out for a week to see what happens. But I don't know why the seller is selling, but that's a good reason to find out why the seller is selling. Because if you find out from the agent, I always like to ask, like, why are they selling? Then you can kind of understand how motivated are they to sell this property. And when you only know that by talking to the agent on the property.
And then another thing too is that that's why the dual agency is so important, because the reason why the sellers, the listing agent wants to get the highest highest amount for the property is because they get whatever commission they get is a percentage of that. It's not a flat fee, so it goes up the higher they sell the house for. So that's why they're really concerned about that. But if you offer them a dual agency and they get to make 6% off of that property instead of 3%, they double the amount that they could have gotten. So it's like, yeah. So that right there should be enough to motivate the agents. But something that I learned too is that not every agent will accept a dual agency. So it's kind of like that trickily works when it can. And then one thing that I really want to focus on this week is learning more about repairs and how to assess repairs for a house, because I feel like that is really a make or break for the properties that we're looking at. And since I don't know really how to assess repairs on a property, and it's literally as much as looking at the photos and stuff and knowing how much it'll cost. Because the more accurate that my repair value is, the better price I can kind of the better I can negotiate that price with the seller, because I can tell them, listen, you have a hole in your ceiling that needs drywall, you have this to the studs, the cabinets cost this much, I need this price to go down. Because if they're selling the house as a fix and flip, they understand that you need to make repairs in order to sell the house at retail. And people tend to put up these fucked up looking houses on the market at retail when you still have to bring that price down to just fix it to get it back to actually valuing the price that they're selling it as. So that's something that I really want to focus on this week.
Yeah. And a couple more things I wanted to say. I'm using the 7-day prop stream free trial. So I'm going to see how that goes. It's kind of helpful, but I don't know if it's worth $100, but it's very massive in terms of functionality. So I haven't really used it that much. I only use it for finding pictures of property that are not listed on Zillow, Redfin, Realtor, Trulia, things like that. So, and it helps with that. One thing I ran into, which I had to email them about, is that there were like 5 properties in a row that I found that on PropStream, they were, let's say, 2,000 square feet. No. On Zillow, they were 2,000 square feet. But then on PropStream, they were like 1,500 square feet, 1,400 square feet, 1,300 square feet. And I'm like, it's hard to comp the property if I don't know what the actual square footage of the property is. So I have to contact them and find out what's going on with that. I'm also, my goal is, not my final goal, one of my goals is to make $300,000 in 1 month from a signing contract, even real estate, but mostly from wholesaling. And another thing too, I am a real estate investor. I'm not a wholesaler. So if somebody asks me that, I'm going to say, listen, I'm an investor. If it doesn't work for me, I may assign it to one of my partners who it does work for. But I am an investor. Have I bought a property yet? No. But I'm still an investor. At one point, I will buy a property. It's not your business. Don't worry about that. So there's that. And then the other thing that I wanted to say was, oh, this goes for like everything in general. It's not even just, I guess, wholesaling itself. Is that it's not a deal until you have the money in your hand. Like, it's not you. I think everybody suffers from it. Me specifically, and I know that it exists, and I still suffer from it. I may get a contract and be like, oh shit, okay, we got a contract. I'm hyped. Even with Melissa on the first week or second week, somebody was like, okay, I'm gonna send you a contract. I'm on the background like, oh, they gonna send you a contract. We got a house. Oh, we did it. We took us 4 days. Bruh. And I'm like, I don't even know what that person's name was. I don't know where that property is located. I don't know anything about that place. And I was mad hyped just because the person said we're gonna send you a contract. I was super excited for that.
You don't get it.
Bro, you don't get it. It don't work out. The money don't come. The buyers don't come. The house is fucked up more than you thought it was. They don't want to negotiate. They take it off the market. Mad things come up. Mm-hmm. So until it's finished, don't get excited. Follow all the way through. Run through the finish line. That's what people always run through the finish line. Then when you get through, celebrate afterwards. But work until you are done. So like I said, that's something I have to work on to just kind of remember, like, okay.
Until that check is in our hands.
Right. Until we still look for right. Until I can deposit that shit, I was like, we not done yet. And the last thing I want to say is that you can negotiate. I have been able to. It's possible to negotiate a property to stay on the market, even though you have a contract on it. And I think that's good for people who are assigning contracts, because that can be a bargaining chip for you, because they might go, well, I don't want to take the property off market while you're doing inspections, and then you might back out of the deal. So you say, listen, how about this? How about we put it in the contract that you can still do showings, you can still do X, Y, and Z, and if I don't buy the property at the 10-day period, then you can sell to somebody else.
What state was that?
It's the Pennsylvania or Baltimore.
It's definitely not Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I don't know which one. Somebody in Baltimore.
Yeah, because in some states, I think in Pennsylvania they don't allow it.
Yeah, I don't know how true that is. That's what they said, but I don't know if that's true.
I've heard it from multiple people, so that's why I took it as.
I don't know, because I'm just like, it might be law, but the thing is, same thing like what Jerry was talking about, where he goes, what was it that he said he said that they be saying that they don't have to do it. He was saying that they always say something, but it's not. Oh, the earnest deposit money. He was like that they tell you have to give them earnest deposit money before the inspection, and it's like you don't have to do that. They tell you that, but you don't have to. And I'm wondering if that's what happened with the deal in Baltimore, where because one thing I realized is that I think they were wholesalers, because the name on the check was DC. That's not the realtor or the broker. That isn't the owner. Mm-hmm. So that's somebody else. So
that's probably yeah. Okay.
And that's probably why there was no actual money that came out of my account, because they never actually had the money. So
I mean, they could, you never sent them a check.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's probably why they were able to do it that way, as opposed to if I was actually talking to the agent for that property. The agent for the property might have said, "Listen, I need the check first." If that's the law, they would need a check. But how is it that? Think about it. How is it that it's the law, but you never got the check? You never got the deposit money. So how is it law? If we got all the way up to this contract period, we've been in this for 6, 7, 8 days. You never got the money. And I still have a contract.
See, but I don't know if that's on, because that's the thing. I think that's on the discretion of the real estate agent.
That's my point.
Yeah, okay.
That's why I don't think it's law.
No, I mean, it might be the law, but if you don't get caught, you don't get caught.
But I don't think it's law, because then I feel like there would be a situation in place that's like, until you have this, you can't have a contract until you have the deposit money. Because like I said, we went all them days and they were still like, all right, no. And then I had the contract written up. I just never sent them the money. And if I had somebody buy the contract or sign the contract to, I would have been done out of it. Never give any deposit money.
Yeah.
So that concludes. Did you want to say something else?
No, that's it.
So that concludes episode 4 of our wholesaling journey. And tune in next week to see episode 5, see what we learn, see if we close any deals. I'm excited. We got some new stuff. I'll make some calls today. Like I said, the goal is to make 15 calls a day each. That's 30 calls a day, which will be about close to 1,000 calls a month, about 900 some change. And we're going to see. We're going to see if we can get to that. Right now, I made 5 yesterday. Melissa made 2. We had 7. So today, we're going to see if we can come up a little bit more than that. All right.
And if you like my fit, I made it. Bamboo Project Clothing.
So, Bamboo Project out.
Not I talk here, top floor, top shotter, you are not top 5. To be completely 100, these people can't keep me from coming, I'm moving now. What you doing tomorrow? If you wanna do it, I say you get to it now. I see the view from the top of the podium, out of your sodium wingspan. I am the they itching to see when you sitting with me, you a wingman.